Hey, welcome to On This Hill, podcast of Church on the Hill, and good to be back with you again. We're entering the month of July, 4th of July week, and I have a guest with me this afternoon, David Prosser, who's one of our Church on the Hill people, but he's working in sort of a little bit of a niche ministry here in the city that we're going to talk a little bit about, but I hope your week's going well, and thanks for being with us, David.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Pastor Bruce.
Yeah.
It's a privilege to be here.
Yeah, David, tell us a little bit. I mean, before we get into what you do, I know you've been part of Church on the Hill. Are you a Willamette Valley guy? Were you raised in the Valley?
Yeah. Grew up from second grade on, like here in Salem.
Nice.
So I was born in Arizona, but my dad was in the Air Force, so we only had one move, luckily. And that was when I was about 3 or 4. Grew up in the Salem area.
Probably got out of there just in time.
Yeah.
I think they're running out of water.
Yeah.
We got the green.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what high school did you go to here in the city?
Yeah, I went to Sprague High School.
Okay. Did you play sports?
Yeah, sports, played as much as I could. Football and basketball were the two primary ones, and did a little bit of track.
Nice.
1 year tried out for the baseball team, but didn't have any experience playing. Just one of our football coaches was the head coach, so I thought I could sneak on the team, but that didn't work out. But yeah, I love playing all the sports.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah. So, and what university you went to?
Yeah, George Fox University.
Oh, George Fox. Excuse me. I was thinking Western for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that a good experience?
Yeah, I absolutely loved my time there, and got to be on the football team, so that was also
nice.
an amazing opportunity, and just learned and grew a lot just through my experience through that. But just, loved the campus, the people there, and it was definitely a good 4 years spent there. That's
great. You know, you playing sports at a college level, university level's entirely different than high school, right?
Oh yeah.
And I imagine came with its challenges. What were the big challenges of playing high school or playing football at that level?
Yeah, just the time commitment is definitely a notch up, and it is kind of like taking a full-time job, because pretty much every day of the week we had football activities. You do practice as soon as you're done with classes, and then after that you're breaking down film, and then have time to do your classwork, homework, and try to get some sleep, and that's pretty much like on repeat every day. Yeah, and even off season, like there's a bunch of training, and this is all on the Division III level. So
right.
I mean, as you step up in competition, it just gets even more
intense.
But,
yeah.
There was kind of a saying, like all the guys playing Division III football, like they're doing it because they love it, because like they're not getting scholarship, and it's not like they're going to get opportunity to continue playing, but they just love the game and are doing that during their college time.
Yeah. Did you get through injury-free? Did you get through your college career without any injuries?
Yeah, almost skated by. I had a torn labrum my sophomore year that I played the whole season with, and that was pretty brutal. I had surgery in the off season. And then my junior year going into senior year, that's when I experienced a big surgery. Because I've had 5 knee surgeries, so my background is kind of full of knee injuries specifically. I've done ACL, meniscus in both my knees.
That's the football stuff right there.
Yeah, combo of football and basketball is good to attribute to those. But my junior year in the spring, I tore some meniscus, and they tried snipping it out, and I tried to rehab over the summer going into my senior year, but wasn't able to recover. So it was to the point where it's pretty much bone on bone, and I needed a meniscus transplant.
Oh.
So that's actually what cut my playing career short.
Staying healthy and the football world is such a challenge, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
My son played football at Sprague, and it was during that Sprague dynasty where they were unbeaten for 4 years in a row. And
that's awesome.
He tore his ACL in the last game of the year. So knees. Yeah. I mean, you need your knees for the rest of your life. It's not just getting through college. They're handy to have for the rest of your life. So you continued, a little bit, and married.
Yes.
Wife, Emma, and you just have a relatively new little girl?
Yes, Magnolia. No, going to be 2 soon.
Nice. So you guys are full on adulting, and you're in the groove.
Yeah, God has just blessed us so much. And
did you meet Emma at school, or where'd you meet her?
Yeah, we met both of us had a part-time job at the Woodburn Outlet Malls. So we're working at Under Armour, just retail, and worked there for a while overlapping, but eventually crossed paths. And,
that's how it goes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
good time.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
Or you're actually writing history, I should say.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So David, we've known David. He's a part of Church on the Hill here, and you've got a ministry that is in the sports world, continues to be in the sports world because you love that world and you love the people in it. Tell us a little bit about that. What does that look like?
Yeah, so Fellowship of Christian Athletes, it's a ministry that's been around for quite a while. I think sometimes people realize how long it's been around, but it's since 1954. And
I didn't realize that. Mid-1950s?
Yeah.
Who started it?
It was started by... I know there's a few people that were involved. One of them, Ricky Branch, who was, I think, the general manager of the Brooklyn Dodgers at the time.
Wow.
And then, I'm slipping the founder's name right now.
But, man, it's been around for all that time, for 70 years. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. I thought it was relatively recent. But so what's the focus? Fellowship of Christian Athletes, there's some... Yeah. What does it look like? What's the vision of it?
Yeah, so the vision is just to see the world transformed by Jesus through the influence of coaches and athletes. And so the ministry, it's kind of broken down into those two realms of ministering to coaches and then also athletes. But really, it's open to just everyone involved in the sporting world and even like just the youth in general being in schools. At FCA huddles that I have going throughout the city, at a number of them, they're just students that are involved with band or orchestra that are still part of FCA in our weekly meetings. So I always like to add, it's not exclusive to athletes, but it is kind of strategically targeted towards athletes because of the influence that they have.
Yeah. Coaches have an incredible platform to influence us, right? I had some coaches. I played sports in high school, and I can look back at my high school career, and I can't think of a teacher that really influenced me. Honestly, that's could be my bad, obviously, paying attention and so forth. But coaches, man, I can think of a couple men who helped shape my life in those. And those were pretty formative years. So you used the word huddle. What does it look like? How do you actually? So you're an adult. You're not on a high school staff. You're on FCA staff. So what does that look like getting into the high school or onto the high school campuses? And what do you do when you get there?
Yeah. So the on-campus ministry, we call them huddles, but they're basically just student-led Bible studies. And so any school can really start one. And then
any school, public or private.
Yeah. So we're in all the Salem Kaiser public high schools currently, and the way things kind of just get started is you get a coach involved or even a teacher, just a faculty to kind of oversee the club because it's an on-campus club. And they get started, and then we build leadership teams at each of these schools. And through those, we call them SAL, or Student Athlete Leadership Team. They're the ones that are running the huddles during the week. And
so the student athlete leadership teams are made up of students themselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Student athletes, and I have freshmen as SALT members. They're seniors, and kind of all mixed throughout. And they're the ones that are leading the huddle on campus. And I kind of get to have this more one-on-one relationship with them where we're really focused on discipleship and training them. And then they're the ones that can now go and be equipped in the schools to kind of just do that process with other people. And that's the win of FCA is just to make disciples who will go and make disciples. And we get to do that through that huddle context, which we usually just do a discovery Bible study, have time of a fellowship, share a meal together. And
that's what every huddle basically consists of.
Typically
small,
meeting
short
during
Bible
lunch
study
times.
during lunch times. A little bit of food. Food always makes things go better. And then, but in that time, what's the total time of a huddle? More or less?
There's some lunches that are just at like 30 minutes, so it's kind of a quick pace. Some schools we have upwards of 40 minutes, and there's a couple schools in Salem that meet in the morning, so they have like an hour. So huddle can kind of vary in length from anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. But the kind of core elements are always the same of growing spiritually, whether that's someone sharing their testimony, studying the Bible, just praying together. and then just always having that fellowship, something like an icebreaker, getting them to engage and have fun, and then just.
So does it kick off in the fall? Like the ministry kicks off when school starts, or when sports starts, runs all year long, and you're on the campuses. You said you're on every Salem Kaiser High School campus.
Yeah. I oversee North Salem, McKay, South Salem, Sprague, and West Salem.
Wow.
And then Mason Shaw, who's another one of our FCA staff, he oversees McNary's huddle. Nice. And then also down at Cascade.
Wow. That's so cool.
That's our
Mason's
greater Salem
also
area.
one of our youth pastors here. That's so exciting because I wasn't a Christian in high school, and like I mentioned earlier, I had some coaches that were good men, but I don't think looking back, some of those coaches weren't believers either.
Yeah.
And I had a big high school in Chicago, 4,000 kids, pretty competitive, and I loved athletics, but I was super lost. I didn't know Jesus, and I often wonder if a guy like you would have met me when I was a junior in high school, going through all the struggles. I wonder if that would have been a timely. Do you find that you connect with kids and you feel like, hey, this is a divine moment kind of a thing? You know what I mean? Where a kid may come in and not know who he is or who God is, but he's come to the huddle and he meets you. Do you have anything like that where you guys have?
Yeah. No, I've definitely, even just because I've been on staff for 2.5 years. So there are some students now that I was able to have a couple of years of just relationship with, and definitely just saw tremendous growth in them and their journey of faith. But also it kind of just connects to home with me because when I was a senior at Sprague, that was kind of one of the beginning points of me pursuing my faith was FCA getting started at Sprague. And
okay.
So that's when I first met Taylor Wilkins, and he was the FCA staff at the time. And he kind of, like you were saying, came into my life at a point where I had a faith background but wasn't really pursuing that. And seeds were scattered and definitely took an interest. And it's kind of what influenced my choice to go to George Fox and Christian University. And then, later down the path, God just worked in amazing ways to continue to grow things. And I've seen that now too, kind of taking that seat and now being that person that's going into the high schools and getting to just step into
come full
students'
circle.
lives. Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah,
David, I think anybody listening to this in the Willamette Valley would know that our school systems are struggling. Not to criticize anybody, everybody's trying to do the best thing they can for the students and families. But the Salem Kaiser School District has a lot of struggles, and the kids and their families have some personal struggles. Do you have any observations on that? Like even in just being with the FCA for just a few years, like what are some of the struggles you see or you hear high school kids talking about?
Yeah, I think it's just really something that's coming after them is just the culture and just everything around the world. Like it does seem like there's just a darkness, and I think just kids are kind of looking for hope. And I've seen just FCA be like a community for these students that, a lot of the students that I've come to FCA, like they're plugged into their churches, going to youth groups, but where they're at school is like another thing. Like they can feel like it's a little bit
world.
Of a different atmosphere.
Yeah.
So I think that was one of the cool things is them almost lighting up, seeing like my faith can have a place here in schools, in a classroom where we can meet with fellow believers and pray together and do Bible studies. Like I've really seen something like come alive in them. And then just I've seen that kind of also spread throughout schools, and like God has opened some amazing doors in places that you probably wouldn't expect. And like one of the things like last year was the McKay worship night. We had a worship night in McKay's gym, and a lot of that.
McKay is a public school, North Salem.
Yeah, Northeast
right?
Salem,
Northeast
right,
Salem,
Lancaster,
and they had so this was outside of the school day, and what tell us a little bit about this worship night?
Yeah, it was just a Friday night, and one of the core things by FCA is everything's really built on partnership, and it's one thing that I've loved to see, and just I feel like God's really given just this vision of unity for the city of Salem. So this event we did last year was partnered with 10 plus churches in the Northeast Salem neighborhood, and Young Life was involved in just the planning process, and then a local worship group, Cherry City Worship, just led this night of worship that was about like 2.5, 3 hours long, just on a Friday night, and hundreds of students and people showed up. And
it was in the McKay gym?
Yeah, just in there, the auxiliary basketball gym. But yeah, like just feel like that's one thing. Yeah, there's
And how many kids showed up, you said?
Yeah, I never got an exact number, but I know there's 200 to 300 people in the gym, and
that's really amazing,
from all over.
Because what we hear all the time, right, from a secular media, I guess is the term, is that kids aren't interested in God. No one's going to church anymore. No one believes in that stuff. But you're saying 200 or 300 high school kids gave up a Friday night to come worship.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, there's definitely been a response just to going out there and creating a space and a place to gather. And
right.
It's been amazing to see God show up in that way.
Oh, that's so cool. And do you ever have any pushback on the campus for like, hey, what are you guys doing here? Or hey, you guys shouldn't be here. Do you ever get anybody, either student or staff, kind of push back on you?
Yeah, no, I haven't really received any of that to this point. And it seems like,
because you're not trying to get him to join our church, or you're not trying to get him to do something, coerce him into something. You're just sharing the hope of Jesus, right?
Yeah, and it's all just led by the students, and so like I'm there just kind of in a support role. Like I bring the pizzas or donuts, and
pizza is the support role.
if they ask
with
a question,
high schoolers.
I love to join in, but really it's just the students that want to step up into that leadership role, and that's what allows us to be there. And I even have seen just like administrators, like they know that there's a presence there, and I think they welcome it because they can see the benefit from it.
Yeah, it's hopefully right. It's a positive influence, and I think administrators of our school systems are looking for all the help they can get. They're trying to do the best job possible, but with limited resources. Do you ever have kids come find you outside of school time? Or do you ever have contact with them later or something, or during the summer? Or they, hey, can we get together? I want to talk more over a coffee or something like that?
Oh, yeah. And that's honestly one of the most rewarding things is getting to kind of build that relationship outside of the school setting. And that's all walks in line with what we're wanting to do, and just make disciples and walk with them through the life with them. And FCA kind of has this discipleship method called E3, and so it's engage, equip, and empower. So one of the first parts is engaging relationally with these students and coaches. So doing that outside of the school setting, I think that's where we've had the most growth, and then that leads to being able to equip them spiritually. And so we do that regularly with the SALT groups outside of the huddle setting, and we're growing spiritually together, so then they're equipped to go into their schools now and lead that there. So it's something we're continually walking through, kind of each of those steps with those students, and to fully do that, there does have to be also that buy-in apart from school, and just getting to spend time together.
So your SALT leaders, I just want to make sure I'm tracking, are high school kids themselves.
Yeah.
But then they're following up on their peers who have come to the huddle, or who might want another conversation or have questions, right?
Yeah.
So you're gone, so to speak. You're not there all the time. You're there for the huddle, but you're following up with the SALT leaders, and they're following up with their peers. Is that right?
Yeah, and that's the journey that we want to take them on. And that's we call that kind of an E3 map that they can have, and people that they're now walking and pouring into, and then they can get to a point where then they have a map, and just how that influence can continue to grow and grow.
Yeah, kind of that reproductive piece. Encounter, equip, and empower. Do I get those three right?
Engage, equip, and empower.
Equip, and empower. Yeah. That's really cool. So you're getting ready. We're doing this right now. We're almost in the month of July, and you're gearing up for the fall, right? Because you don't during the summer. What do you do? Yeah,
summer is kind of a switch of gears, focusing on camp season. So FCA has a variety of camps, sport-specific camps, week-long overnight camps. And so next month I'll be heading up to Seattle. They're doing their first week-long multi-sport camp. So camps throughout kind of our whole region. In July there will be Willamette Valley baseball camp down in Lynn Bend Community College. And then, yeah, another fun opportunity we're doing this year is meeting with high school or middle schoolers now. So kind of lowering that age now and starting a middle school huddle. And
On this coming fall?
well, we're doing that starting next
summer.
week. Yeah, just running through the summer. Every other week, meeting at Woodmansey Park.
Whoever wants to come.
Yeah, any middle schoolers wanting
Wow.
to be a part of FCA so they can get
to know
a
you
little
guys
intro into the
Yeah.
FCA experience.
and then come find you when they get in high school.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
So there's, a lot of opportunities in the camp season, but then also, shifting gears and focusing to the next school year and just being ready to meet with leaders again and get running when school starts in September.
Yeah. You're a young dad with a little girl and probably going to have more kids, I would imagine. When you look at this coming generation, what are you hopeful for? What are you hopeful about?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to see that's troublesome or worrisome, but what are you hopeful for as a believer, as a father, as a man, coach, and as a dad?
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's just a curiosity in this next generation just wanting to find the truth. And I think that's where there's been attacks on what is truth. But there is one truth. And so that's what I'm just hopeful for, that they just keep seeking, and then they'll find. And there's only one name, and that's Jesus, and he is the way, the truth, and the life. And I have faith that that's what they'll come to the conclusion of if they just keep searching.
Yeah, that's awesome. The first huddle of the fall is the first week of school?
Yeah,
you guys, or
we try
before?
to coordinate with just whatever teacher, coach that we have involved, and some schools start a couple weeks after schools getting started. But yeah, we're right from the beginning of the school year, and I know this upcoming year we're going to be having booths at schools, club days, and just getting the word spread out that way. But now that we're fully established in all the Salem high schools, I think we're gonna get in a good routine of just everyone kind of knows when we're meeting, where we're meeting, and we'll be back every year.
That's awesome. Do you when you're on you work for FCA, you're a staff member.
Yeah.
You're a regional. What's your title? Regional
Area rep.
rep. Okay. And how do you raise your support? I mean, how do you? Because you do this as a full-time gig, right?
Yeah, full-time ministry.
So it's not just a once in a while throughout the week. You're there all the time. You're
yeah.
going all week long, right?
Yeah.
And what do you have to do to be a staff member? What's that look like?
Yeah, it's FCA model is fully support raise. So I go out and raise the year's budget every single year, and just depend on the gospel, and God provides.
Yeah. So when you say raise the budget, you're talking about the budget you needed to do pizzas and everything to do with ministry, but also a budget to live and feed your family.
Yeah, and then what we're living on.
Yeah, that's got to be a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah, it's I think it's a challenge to just grow in steadfastness and trust in the Lord. So that's what I've leaned into, and He is faithful. So He's shown up time and time again, and
Yeah, and your wife's in it with you.
Yeah, and she fully supports it, and
You've got a great wife. That was a good decision you made there. Yeah. Do you find just a couple of other things that came across my mind? Do you find a number of the coaches, are they believers? That are coaching football, basketball, baseball, whatever the sport would be, male or female. Do you find that there's quite a few believers in that area? I mean,
I think you see pockets of them at each school, and that's I think that's part of one of the goals I have coming up, is just kind of creating that network and getting them just connected, because that's another area where I think coaches might not always get that support and the system around them. But I see coaches at all the schools that are believers and know that they're going to church, and now I'm just wanting to connect with them and just show them that they have support.
Yeah, kind of a camaraderie. Yeah, that's amazing. How can we, like, if someone, David is a member of Church on the Hill, part of us. So if you're a part of Church on the Hill listening to this, in August, we're going to have you back on a Sunday where we're going to do a quick interview, and you're going to be at a table and people can meet you, talk to you. But how can How can we be praying for you? Is we, we're going into July, August, summer months, camps, but you're getting ready for the fall. That's the big, that's when the game starts, kind of a thing. And how can we be praying for you, David?
Yeah. Right now, I'm just the last bit of funding to get this year's budget taken care of. So just praying for financial partners is a big one, and then also just that we would continue to get new student leaders at each of these schools and coaches involved, and then also wanting to just grow the connections we have in the community with people wanting to serve and be involved in the ministry. And so looking for mobilized volunteers, people that want to be a part of this ministry. And
so someone at a volunteer level could come and talk to you, and you would give them a job to do, kind of a thing. Hey, you could just be here on this day and do this, and they can come and serve.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
A lot of ways, and people can get involved, and there's even opportunities for just one-on-one discipleship with students, being at huddles, but then also just as, FCA continues to grow in the area, in the summers, we're having like youth basketball camps and people working at those, and there's a variety of ways to get involved.
So there's a question I forgot to ask. I was going to ask earlier, male and female, right? You got male kids, boys, and young men, young women coming to the huddles or getting involved. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So, listening to us, again, not sure where you are as you listen to this, but if you're interested, you just heard him. If you want to just invest into our high school public school systems, this is a great investment, because you have a live man who's an ex-athlete talking to athletes and talking to kids. He's there for them. And $20 a month, $25 a month, $30, whatever, that would help you stay there, right? Yeah. So financially you could help. And if they wanted to come volunteer and just visit a huddle with you, they could do that. So you could get a hold of us, Church on the Hill. We could direct you to David, and I can shoot you his contact information if you get a hold of us. And if you're around during the summer, he's going to be with us in August, probably around the middle of August on a Sunday. You'll be hearing more about that. But man, David, what an honor to have you with us here today, but have you part of us, because we want to bring the gospel and hope to public high schools. And you're doing it. You're doing it with your team, man. That's just so exciting. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, if you've enjoyed this, or if this resonates with you, maybe you're out there and you're like, hey, I was an athlete in school and I love athletics and it resonates with me. And you'd want to give back to our community and share the gospel in a public setting like a high school. Man, get a hold of us, would you? Get involved. This is good ground, and this is good stuff. So thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thank you, Pastor Bruce.
And thanks for watching and listening. If it's a help to you, or you think someone else might be inspired, pass it along. And if not, have a great July as we come into the month, and we'll see you next week.